What up, Kinfolk Nation? I hope you're having a great weekend, and look what I got. Astro City Mini by Sega. And I also got this bad boy, controller for it. Now, we're going to open this up, of course, but before we get into that, I want to go into a little background of the Astro City. You see, in Japan, Sega had a line of specialized cabinets. They weren't made for... they weren't like a specific game system, like say their System 22 or even the Neo Geo per se, but they were actually a line of cabinets where arcade owners could pre-install games in. So if you're an arcade owner, you could buy a cabinet, you can install like one or more cabinets in it. So, and right here you can see one of these arcade centers, and you can see like they got some a Neo Geo game installed on this one, and see if I can find another. And here's another. They installed some kind of game from Konami on it. I'm not sure what it is. So yeah, basically you use Google Images to pull this stuff up. Also, here's somebody else who they also had another line called Blast City cabinets. That's what this is right here. And here's another Astro City where they put on Alien vs Predator. So and of course you got, I don't know if these are Sega, but like they're like the same basic design. The Pony TV and Egret 2. I'll probably do a like video feature on it. Let me know in the comments what you think. But anyway, let's see. So these were really big in Japan, but I think like there were some in the U.S. as well, or at least some people in the U.S. were able to procure them. And the difference between these guys the difference between these cabinets and others is like these are sit-down cabinets. So you would go in, sit down, and that's actually a model of what I'm about to show you. If you look here, you actually go in and sit down at them instead of just standing up and play them. So like arcades in Japan are like a completely different vibe. So anyway, like last year, Sega released the Astro City Mini. They've been doing a lot of these like mini systems lately with the Genesis Mini system and the Game Gear Mini. But they recently put this out. This was only available in Japan, but Limited Run Games, they released a small number of them in the U.S. Earlier this year. I was able to snag one. So I'm not sure like if this is like just the Japanese version with English packaging or translate over here. But I know some of the games are in Japanese, but I'm not sure like if this is like an actual English version or if it's just like a Japanese version that's repackaged. I guess we'll find out shortly. And also they released a control pad where you can also plug in with the system. So yeah, this is kind of similar to like the Neo Geo Mini where you got like pads for it and they put out an arcade. Now, one thing I want to point out is that the title list, this might not be completely clear, but there's 37 games on here, and it's actually focused on arcade titles, obviously. So you got stuff like you got like typical things like Fantasy Zone and Altered Beast, but you also got like Virtual Fighter and Rad Mobile and Cotton. Also, you got Golden Axe: The Revenge of Death Adder, which is the very first time like there's been like a U.S. release of the game. Because I think the game came out at the same time at the same time they were working on Golden Axe 3, but Revenge of Death Adder is obviously the better game. So, we're gonna go ahead and open this bad boy. Alright, now comes the fun part. We're gonna get to see what's in the box. Alright, so it's pretty easy. Take this flap off. Open it up. Got the Sega 60th anniversary. Dedicated to all Sega fans around the world and to the creators who made history. Ah, thanks. So here it is, an instruction manual. Probably a paper thin instruction manual. Just for giggles, I want to see what's inside it. It's actually folded out. Alright, now to the star of our show. Let's lift this bad boy out of here. And here go your plugs and stuff. So you get an HDMI port. And you got a USB port, which I can assume you can use for power. Of course, this thing, which apparently there for spacing. And of course, finally, we got the Mini. Let's take the plastic off. And here it is, Sega Astro City Mini. Here's the joystick, here's the buttons. Start and select. Here's the back of it. Now you gotta plug it in to get it working, and of course, they don't give me like an actual plug, but again, it's one of these things where you can use like one of those USB plugs you can buy at Walgreens or whatever. There's an HDMI port, and there's a 1-player and 2-player thing, and that's for the controllers, obviously, and there's a headphone jack, too. So it looks like it will cut off, but I guess it doesn't. So let's see if it'll turn on. Yeah, I gotta plug it in before I can turn it on. We'll do that in a little bit. Now let's open up this bad boy. Here is the controller. So I don't know if they actually have controllers with these units. I really doubt it, but like, this is actually in that same style. So basically trying to find a good way to just open it without ripping the damn thing, but fuck. Ah, so tight in there. Yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna end up throwing this thing away anyway. I want to rip the corners because it just looks so well put together. You really pack this in tight. And here is the controller. So there isn't really much to it. Here's a control pad, and you got the buttons that are like in-seated. Here's credit, and here's start. And here's a USB plug, obviously. I wonder if you can use this with PC games as well. I doubted that I would, but if you're an old school gamer and you play games on NES or Master System, then this might appeal to you. But speaking of Nintendo, this kind of feels like these buttons here kind of feel like a Nintendo controller, just with more of them. Of course, this D-pad is obviously different. It's got this thing where it's like almost rotating a little bit when you're pressing it. So I guess it's like designed to emulate the joystick. Now about the buttons on this unit, let me get this and make sure it's in frame. So the buttons on this unit, like, it feels like they click, kind of like actual arcade buttons. And again, these is start and credit. And this joystick, it kind of has this clicky thing to it as well. I just want to see what it looks like when we're playing the actual game. So let's get this thing hooked up and let's turn it on. Alright, I'm back, and I know it's gonna look a little bit awkward. I'm probably gonna have to hook this up to my monitor, but here is the unit. And one thing I know, one thing I noted, like when I plug the charger card in, then I'll show you in a second. You get this green thing flashing. So let's turn it on. It stays on permanent, obviously, but there it is. Sega Astro. So you can choose your language. So I'm not sure how well you can see this, but yeah, I'm gonna have to hook this up to my video card. So let's take 1 second. All right, as you can see, I'm hooked up to my As you see, I'm hooked up to my let me just the volume on this real quick. Hope you guys can hear me. Anyway, I'm hooked up to my computer screen. As you can see, the image quality is just so much better now. This is what the main menu for Astro City looks like. And right now I'm playing with the control pad. So, like earlier I was playing with the joystick, but the footage didn't come out right, so I had to go back and re-record it. But I played with the control pad. Like so far, the control pad is pretty responsive. It almost feels like the old Nintendo control pad, especially with the action buttons having that little inset. Check out Quartet 2. This is like 1986 Sega. Destroy the boss, only a key opens the door. This almost reminds me of that game Xenophone. Well, maybe not exactly. You know, it actually feels like an early version of that game, Turrican. Enemies keep coming at you. So you do the thing where he turns color, the more damage he takes. Let's check out another game. So as you can see, you got like save features. Actually, the joystick feels pretty good too. The way it clicks, it just makes it feel like it just snaps in place, and it just feels like so responsive, like almost like an actual arcade title. Sonic Boom. You saw this on here and you thought it was a Sonic game, didn't ya? Another thing I want to point out is, as you go through the menu, it tells you what PCB board that the system is running on. Like, this is System 16, this is System 24. Let's see, here's Thunder Force. Now I think this one. Now this one is on Genesis. This might even be. I never played the Genesis game. I hardly ever played the Genesis game, but I think like this is pretty close to that version. I played it like once or twice. I know it might be on the Mini, on the Genesis Mini. Now I hardly ever played these games in the arcade, so I don't have any reference as far as like emulation quality. But I think with today's technology, shouldn't be too hard to make like perfect version of these games. I mean, you could put like 1,000 games on a 35-hour retro play for crying out loud. Check out something else. So this is Arabian Fight. This came out in 1991, and you gotta like the way that scales in and out of the screen. Just make it run out for some reason. It looks weird. It almost looks like a cartoon. So of course, it's your typical beat 'em up. You beat up enemies. You can do like a super move by pressing both the buttons together. But you're gonna like how the graphics scale in and out, even though it does kind of like add to the slowdown a little bit. I think with this game, these graphical techniques would have probably been a bit too much for the Genesis at the time, and that's why we never got a home version. So one thing I like about like these plug-and-play systems that Sega's been putting out, there's a better variety than what than like when you see them put out like compilations and stuff. Like it's usually the same amount of games, like the Streets of Rages and the Golden Axes, but like they've got like a different variety of games, especially with the Genesis Mini, where you have like third-party titles. Let's check out something else. Ew, wrong button. So you gotta get to this menu by pressing the credit, and the start buttons at the same time. I'll show off this game. This is Golden Axe: Revenge of Death Adder. I think this game came out in the arcades at the same time 3 did, or probably just came out before 3, I guess. But like this never got a home release for whatever reason. And I again with Arabian like with Arabian Fight, I think the thing was that the graphics were probably too much for the Genesis at the time. Then again, it probably could have been one of those things where they put out a scaled out down version, maybe. Ironically, they probably could have made these things on the Super Nintendo, but of course, they were still making consoles at the time. But one thing I like to see though is maybe Sega putting out a compilation of their arcade titles. That would be interesting. Or even their Master System or Sega Saturn stuff. Here's one weird thing. Like, she's a centaur, but when she hops on a mount and her extra legs disappear, she becomes a normal human. If she's got horse legs, then why would she even need a mount? That little dwarf, you gotta get as many times as possible. If I still had the mount, then I could actually carry that thing with me while shooting at the enemies. Oh well. So I'm gonna head out of here. So another good thing you can do is like, it's actually a fighting game, Dark Edge. But like when you're on the selection screen, you can choose from different screenshots, and this is a System 32 game. Let's check this out now, be it. Fighters on Edge. Huh. So this is like actually an early version of a 3D fighter. So you gotta like scaling in and scaling out. Just imagine, this is like Virtual Fighter before Virtual Fighter.
Second round. Fight!
All right.
Winner, Jaeger. Third round. Fight!
See, there's a good variety of games you can play on here. I know there's Virtual Fighter, but I didn't expect that they'd have this game on there too. So I think that's it. Let's head back out, and I'll give some final thoughts. Back to main menu. I wonder if I can get the shutdown sequence to record. Let's see. Okay, there it is. Nice. So before I ended this video, one last thing I wanted to do was take my other two arcade machines and compare it to this one as far as size. And as you can see, it sits right in the middle between the Neo Geo Mini and the Data East Classics from my arcade. You can check those videos out too. They're also in the Toy Second Boxing list. As you can see, like I think the bulkiest of the all three of the systems is definitely the Astro City. Like it definitely feels like heavier. Looks like it's packing more underneath. Let's see. Yeah, Data East pretty much feels empty. Like you just put a mini computer in there with the games on it. I'd almost say the same thing with the S&K Mini, but it looks like there's some bulk in there as well. See I think the joystick of the Astro City is definitely the best on there too, because it feels more responsive. Wow. Actually, the Neo Geo isn't too bad either. Feels a bit more looser, though, I'd say. But a Data East Classics, it kind of feels like more a bit restrictive because it's basically attached to a four-way control pad. But what you can do with the Data East one, and I don't think I showed this in the original video, you can actually unscrew this bad boy and you can just play it with the control pad. But if you're an arcade gamer, then you're probably going to want to play it with the joystick. But then again, if you're like me and you grew up playing these games on Nintendo, then the joypad will feel at home to you. But I definitely like the Astro City features. Again, it feels like a little bit heavier, but I think my only beef with his design is that like on the front you can't tell what button is which. You got to look at it from within the game itself, and as you can see can't talk tonight for some reason, but yeah, as you can see for controller, then you actually see what button is which, but that's a small thing. So anyway, that was our look at the Astro City Mini. I definitely liked what I saw. You get a good variety of games, plus the unit looks well put together. Like, even if they do skip on like I kind of wish they would have put like some extra features, maybe like, I don't know, hidden features or maybe interviews or concept art. But then again, for what you're paying, like $130, it's a fairly good value. I think though at $27 a controller is overpriced, but this is Astro City and they're likely importing these things from Japan. Usually with these mini systems, you don't know who the intended audience is for, like collectors or retro fans. Like with the Genesis Mini, if you grew up playing these games, then likely you're already going to have them, and you're already going to have the old system, and you're probably going to have the original cartridges. So you're probably buying it for your kids to look at those old video games or whatever. But I think with this one, like you get a lot of arcade games which never got home versions, and a lot of them never got US releases. So again, if I'm a collector, especially a retro collector, then this is definitely something you'll want to look into. Of course, limited run only stocks so many units, and you have to be lucky enough to get one. But who knows? Maybe they'll get some more in stock one day, or maybe there'll be a wider U.S. release. Who knows? But let me know what you're thinking about it in the comments. Anyway, if you like what you just saw, hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more game-related content, hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon. That way you'll be the first to know when I put out new content. Again, I got that King of Fighters. I'm putting the finishing touches on it. I hope to have it done later this week. I got, of course, I got 5-bit news coming up Monday, depending on, like, I'm recording this Saturday night, so most likely it's going to go up Sunday morning, hopefully, but who knows. So depending on when you view this, I'm either going to put out 5-bit news tomorrow, or it'll already have been up. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, I'm out 51,000 G, kinfolk.